Let me guess, you were thinking of moving to Tacoma, but you're honestly worried on moving into the absolute worst neighborhood. Today, we're going to clear up all those misconceptions because we're going to give you the best and worst areas that Tacoma has to offer. Hello everyone, my name is George.rodriguez. I am a realtor here in Washington State with eXp Realty, and welcome back to another edition of helping you live in Tacoma. If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to assist you in never missing any of these in-depth guides and making your movement to Tacoma or living in Tacoma just that much easier. Today's video is going to be a must watch because if you're considering and moving into Tacoma or changing neighborhoods, you're going to want to consider these because we're going to go over these two of the most dangerous areas to live in Tacoma, Washington. The two main areas of Tacoma that we're going to focus on when it comes to the more dangerous sections is going to be the east side and also the southern portion of Tacoma. Now, when it comes to the east side, you're going to be located closest to Puyallup, but also when you take a look at it, you're going to be kind of closer to Seattle in terms of a commute basis because you have the ability of when you're living off of Portland Avenue to get to I-5 or 512. So it does make your commutes really easy because you're close to the interstate and also the freeway. But also a big reason why there's a huge pro when it does come to the eastern portion of Tacoma and the southern portion, it is due to the overall median price value of homes here. When it comes to Tacoma, this is going to be more of the affordable range for everyone to afford. So you do have a lot of new families coming in that are now transitioning from Seattle or even coming up to first-time new buyers that are going to be buying properties here because of the ability of the affordable nature when it does come to the rest of Tacoma in general. Now, these two areas do have a little bit more of the crime in terms of the east and the southern portion of Tacoma because this used to be the low-income housing area back in the day. Now, of course, everything is changing, and like everyone says, it is becoming a little bit more expensive. So now a lot of this gentrification is occurring because more money is being blasted into these areas, especially by the Emerald Queen Casino. Ever since that thing was built, there's been a rush of money coming into this area, so things and the dynamics are changing, but of course, it may take a little bit more time for that major change to occur. Personally, since I moved here in 2020 when I bought some new construction here out this way, I believe things have changed in my personal opinion, but at the end of the day, Tacoma is still going to Tacoma when it does come to these two areas. It's going to take a little bit more time, but when that does come, the investment potential and the overall growth that is happening within Tacoma in general, not just, the east and southern portions, you're going to have a big bump when it does come to your overall price valuation when you take a look at it 5 to 10 years from now. Now, those are going to be your pros and cons when it comes to your east and southern portion of Tacoma. You're going to have affordability in both areas. You're going to have elevated crime, and more, in my opinion, more so in the eastern portion than you would in the southern. But now with the east side, you have way better commuting potential, and in the southern portion, you're closer to Joint Base Lewis McChord. And also, you're going to be closer to Spanaway, and it's getting a little bit more quieter in that section. Personally, I like to bring up the bad news before you come to the good, and this whole video is not going to be about danger. And so let's talk about the 3 safest neighborhoods that you can expect to live in when you're here in Tacoma. First up, you're going to have the north end. When it comes to the north end of Tacoma, this is going to be more of the higher income area in comparison because the overall property valuations are going to be extremely high, in some cases almost double than what you would see within the eastern and the southern portions of Tacoma. When it is coming to north end of Tacoma, you are going to get blessed with the beautiful views of the Puget Sound as well as the north end vibes of having an older historic home and the culture that's present within Tacoma. Within the north end, you are going to have incredibly low crime rates in comparison to what everyone else is really going to be facing within Tacoma. And not only that, if you do have children, the education systems of this portion of Tacoma is going to be some of the best in Pierce County. A big reason why the north end has some of the best schools in comparison to all the other ones in Tacoma, I have my own opinions of what I feel about the education system here on the east side, but the northern portion of Tacoma gets a lot of money pushed towards them from the city of Tacoma just due to infrastructure, bills being passed, and just how the legislation works, politics. Working away from the north end going into the Proctor District, they have a lot of the same benefits that the north end has since it's basically your next door neighbor. Same thing when it comes to schools. You're going to have really good school systems within that local sector when it does come to Proctor because they share some of the same benefits of what the city of Tacoma passes to have a lot of the money being pushed towards the school systems to benefit that area. This area is perfect for families. Personally, I like Proctor District a little bit better than I do the north end because it's a little more quiet in comparison, and honestly, I feel like you get more of that nice neighborhood family vibe than what you would do within the north end. But they're both nice, but if you're making me pick, I'm a big fan of Proctor. There's a ton of local shops within the Proctor District and a locals farmers market to get your fresh produce and to shop local because sometimes it's better to support local and you get healthier at the same time because there's less crazy stuff within there. The type of properties that you can expect when you're going to be shopping here in the Proctor District is the older style homes. The ones that are built in the 1920s, 1950s, the 1960s, the ones that have that beautiful charm. And also, this area has a ton of ramblers. Of course, if you hate stairs, that may be a good portion for you to choose, but that's just me. And not only on that portion, when you're looking at that type of real estate, you do have a big community association that's here that honestly brings the community together, creates a lot of events, and just creates a unifying factor that honestly you miss in a lot of places, and it feels pretty good when you're part of that community. When it comes to these two areas, it can be very expensive in comparison when you look at everything else that Tacoma has, because these areas are going to be some of the more ideal locations for someone to live, and anything ideal has never been cheap, and neither are these two areas when it comes to safety, education, as well as the community factors that honestly these boast a lot better than other portions of Tacoma. Now, if you think about moving, don't do it alone. Sometimes it's better to do something with a friend and someone by your side. Contact me and we can help assist you in the best way possible in finding you the perfect neighborhood that fits your needs within Tacoma. And remember, free stuff is the best stuff. And I do have a free Tacoma relocation guide located in this description below. And first off, you're welcome. Now, just because I listed those two neighborhoods as the safest options within Tacoma doesn't mean that there's nothing else to choose from. There are a couple more in-betweens that you can go to, and the first one's going to be Central Tacoma. Now, when you're living here in Central, you do have a lot of options when it comes to your housing. With your housing, you have a ton of commercial and a ton of residential. Of course, when it does come to Tacoma in general, there really isn't going to be much new construction at all. You're going to have to go further south or east to get that. Being located in Central Tacoma, you have everything that you could want, from food options, cafes, and honestly, any of the local shops. You have everything that Tacoma has to offer, and you're going to get the biggest hub of the community, in my personal opinion, because there's more community than just the northern portion of Tacoma. When it comes to the community aspect of what just Central has to have, they have a lot of food options, local businesses, cafes, and honestly, the museums are right next door, but you really share all the same aspects that Tacoma has to offer because it's going to be within the same area and city of Tacoma at the end of the day. Let's not kid ourselves here. But one big aspect I do want to point out is that if you're going to be living in the central portion of Tacoma, you do have a huge up when it comes to the healthcare. The healthcare system here, you're going to have Allen Moore Hospital, you're going to be really close to St. Joe's, TG, which is Tacoma General, all the Franciscan locations that they have here. So really, if the health portion is going to be a huge portion and a big deal to you, Central may be the best option for you because you're going to have all the healthcare options readily available, super close by you. When you're comparing the affordability factor of the central portion in comparison to the Proctor District or the northern end of Tacoma, you are going to have some savings in comparison to the affordability nature. When you're taking a look at safety, now you are going to be in a better state when it comes to the east or southern portions of Tacoma, so you do have that factor in terms of being a little bit safer. Now, of course, it's not going to be as good as what the northern portions going to be dealing with, but overall, you're going to be in a better position than in comparison to what your other neighbors would be having in Tacoma. The development of the central portion of Tacoma has been increasing rather rapidly due to the city of Tacoma pouring more money into the city, and with its close nature to the downtown area, it's just a good benefit of being that close, of actually having money pushed into these neighborhoods to increase the overall opinion and the valuation of its residents. Now, in that, of course, the valuation of property steadily increases 3.5% on average every single year, so you can only imagine how much and rush in prices this area can have due to its close nature to the water and the northern portion of Tacoma. Next up, we're going to have the Stadium District. When it comes to Stadium, you're going to have a lot of the benefits that the northern portion of Tacoma is going to have because you are going to be its next door neighbor rather close when it comes to it. So everything when it comes to the public education system, you share the same benefits that Proctor, the northern portion, is going to be having because you're going to be within that same hub of schools that receive a lot of the money from the city of Tacoma for its increased nature of growth. This neighborhood can be a little more tighter in comparison because it doesn't have that same residential feel because everyone is so close. And honestly, it gives you a lot of Seattle vibes because parking can be a pain in the butt sometimes due to everything being off street. There isn't a lot of garages here. Oftentimes, it can be considered really close to Seattle. This area has it all when it comes to all the food options that you could easily desire and the ability to easily commute from here as well because you're going to be closer to your ability to get to I-5 when you're going to need that also. So having your ability to commute and having the different type of vibrant culture, honestly, this portion is going to be more of a niche area for those that want a certain type of living lifestyle. If you're looking for more of the white picket fence, and honestly, you need more space, you want your kids to run around and roam. Personally, I think you're going to find different options and different locations, but everyone has a different type of lifestyle that they're trying to have and acquire, and you can achieve it here in a very, very beautiful fashion. When it comes to the safety and cost, you are going to have a rather safe location because basically you're going to be in the northern end of Tacoma as well. So you do have that benefit of having less of ruckus occurring here just due to the elevated price point of a lot of the properties here in this location. But of course, the properties that you will be seeing in this location is very minimal in terms of what different types of lifestyle you're trying to have. Of course, they're going to have the ramblers, the older style type of properties. You're not going to have a lot of new construction. You're going to have a lot more of condos And honestly, when it comes to this area instead, they're going to share a lot of the same factors that the Proctor District has in the type of properties that they have available for its buyers in this area. In my personal opinion, it is going to be a little bit cheaper in comparison to what you would see in Ruston or the northern tip of Tacoma, and also what you would see in the Proctor District. The price points is going to be relatively the same, just a little bit lower in comparison. To get into this area, you can expect anywhere between the ranges, I would say $600,000 starting to just really get into here. Of course, and it does range way further up, just depending on exactly what type of home you're looking for and what the budget is going to be for you to be looking in this area. The pros and cons of living here in the Stadium District: you are going to have a lovely and beautiful Stadium High School to take a look at, and to run those stairs in that stadium. Trust me, you do it once, you may not do it again. If you do it again, you're a beast, because them legs go on fire. Trust me, it was wild. Now, when you're living here, you're going to have everything you could want for food and necessities. Of course, parking is going to be a pain in the butt at times, but living in this niche area and pocket, you're going to be in a rather desirable location overall. It has great prospects of appreciation here in the coming future. The next location you can take a look at is going to be the Lincoln District. Now, this is going to be a neighbor of the east side of Tacoma, so you already get a little bit of that ruckus that you're going to have in that section. Honestly, I would almost still consider it in the same pocket, because literally it's right there off of Pacific Avenue, which isn't too far from Portland Avenue. Now, when you're taking a look at the Lincoln District, you are going to have the ability of having the international portion, meaning you have a lot of the international local shops in terms of the Hong Kong market. You got all the Asian persuasion, culture, food. Honestly, I go there very, very often. My wife's Cambodian. We love eating over there. That's just us. But that is just us. So if you need a good little pocket of food, that is going to be a good section for you, because there's nothing better than international flavors, in my personal opinion. When it comes to the safety and affordability of this area, you are going to get a lot of the affordability that the east side of Tacoma does have, because you're basically a next door neighbor to it. So you do get a lot of that benefit of being able to afford properties in this price range. You can definitely get in here, I want to say around $400,000 starting, and it ranges anywhere from $450,000 and on up to get something a little more bigger, or what may fit your personal or family needs in this area. But when it comes to the safety, you are still going to be kind of in that niche pocket where you are going to hear a lot of the ruckus from the east side of Tacoma, but you are getting a little bit better. In my personal opinion, the closer you are to the freeways, the more ruckus you're going to have, and of course, the more populous of people going through. So close to freeways, you might hear a little more of the noise, but of course, noise ain't hurting nobody. You just got to phase it out, and it'll become one with your area. Thank you for watching Living in Tacoma. If you found this at all helpful, do not forget to hit that like button down below, and to share this video with anyone else that you feel would gain some value with actually having this video in their lives. Now, don't forget, my contact information is down below, and you will get a free relocation guide for Tacoma down below in the description. Now, I also have something for you, as I am a giver, as it seems. I have another video that will give you the cost of living in Tacoma, just so you can kind of feel what's going on in terms of how far your dollar is going to go. If you're curious on how far your dollar is going to go, click this video above, and I will catch you right over there.